This is He Knows Everything, bringing you that heat and that fire. Let's talk about it. I'm going to explain something to you guys fundamentally, unequivocally, and without fail. The Ldbc is being paid by Bob Arum. The Ldbc is being paid by Eddie Hearn to push narratives. If you understand, look at who they're pushing up. Terrence Crawford. He represents Top Rank. If you notice, they always are kissing, cooning, and buffooning for Bob Arum. All of a sudden, they become new friends with Bob Arum. Eddie Hearn, they have propped him up and said that he is the best promoter in boxing. And you want to know why? Because it derives around Devin Haney. Notice they started showcasing their love fest for Bob Arum in the Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury fight. But basically their misgivings, just like Deontay Wilder's misgivings, is when black people basically push themselves out, they give a handout to the white man. They don't realize at the end of the day, the white man's agenda, their role, their pristine idealism is the Christopher Columbus they asked. Christopher Columbus took joy in bludgeoning natives. Christopher Columbus basically talked about how much natives he killed to the point to where his arms was hurting him. And he was happy in saying that. He was taking joy. He was taking jolly in saying that. This is what they did to Deontay Wilder. They lynched him in Black History Month. Then they re-lynched him again by allowing Tyson Fury to get that third fight. And who's got the last laugh? Tyson Fury. He was able to lick Deontay Wilder's blood in that second fight. In the third fight, he beat the snot out of Deontay Wilder. Basically beat the slave out of him. The Ldbc, like la cucarachas, yo no puedo caminar. La cucarachas, yo no puedo caminar. Like scattering cockroaches. They scattered. If you notice, they don't have nothing to say about Deontay Wilder. Because they know Deontay Wilder got exposed. They know Deontay Wilder got excoriated. They know Deontay Wilder got done the fuck up. So what are you going to say to a guy that got exposed? What are you going to say to a guy that got done up? What are you going to say to a guy that got basically ethered, murked, and napalmed at the highest levels? We know at the highest levels of the heavyweight division, he doesn't belong. Notice they're not talking about him. So they basically left Bob Arum for a second. But they didn't really leave Bob Arum because they've been propping up Terrence Crawford. They've been telling Ldbc'S, who has 2 belts as a welterweight. Terrence Crawford, the barking, the chihuahua, barking behind the damn fence. Let me do it again. The chihuahua, barking behind the damn fence. This guy right here, a barking chihuahua. You guys have to excuse the barking. My voice is a little groggy, but you get the gist and you get the point of what I'm saying. They're pushing him. They're saying that Ldbc'S needs to take 50-50. Why isn't he taking 50-50? Again, pushing Bob Arum's agenda. Because who's the one that said 50-50? It was Bob Arum. Who's the one that's been saying 50-50? Terrence Crawford. The reason why they're pushing the 50-50 agenda, and see, the Ldbc, because they are dumb as fuck Negroes, they don't realize that that's Bob Arum and Terrence Crawford's way of ducking Ldbc'S. They don't want that fight because they know if they gotta go and smoke that free smoke, you know what I'm saying? If you want smoke, it's free, but you can't smoke for free. They don't want that free smoke junior because they know the free smoke junior will charge, tax, bulldoze, steamroll right through them, plow through them, and then beat the shit out of them. And they know that smoke is not free. They don't want that fight. They understand the full legalities. They understand the full weight, the full gravity, and the full magnitudes of what that fight brings to the table. So why even have that fight in the first place? But see, the Ldbc is fooled, and they're pushing Bob Arum's agenda, which is to make it seem like they want the fight, and in actuality, they don't. They're thinking the fight is going to get pushed because they're dumb as fuck Negro ass slaves. But Bob Arum doesn't want that fight. Terrence Bud Crawford doesn't want the fight. Terrence Bud Crawford supposedly left Top Rank, supposedly left Bob Arum. But how come he hasn't landed on a new suitor? It's a things that make you say, It's a things that make you say, See, they're not thinking. They're not using their brains. They're lacking neuron receptors. Then they push Devin Haney. Devin Haney got exposed this weekend by Jojo Diaz. Gervonta Tank Davis basically turned that motherfucker around, and i.e. Isaac Pitbull Cruz. He was turning the motherfucker around all fight. On one hand. He broke his hand halfway into the fight. We could tell because the last 3 to 4 rounds, Tank Davis refused to let that left hand go. So clearly, when a fighter does that, that means their hands are broken. But they want to say who had the better performance. But we know damn well Gervonta Tank Davis was getting hurt to the body. We know damn well Jojo Diaz was basically landing with succession. What was Devin Haney's excuse? He wasn't hurt. Devin Haney didn't basically mess his hands up. He's pillow fisted. He doesn't have the ability to mess his hands up. Y'all didn't catch what I said. What I said was so deep and profound. Let me let that marinate in the corpus callosum and in the cerebellum. So hear me fucking well. Devin Haney does not have punching power to hurt his fist. He's already pillow fisted, meaning his hands are already brittle. So there is nothing that he can do to make his hands brittle. But again, what are we seeing here? They're pushing an old car salesman, aka Shiesty motherfucking Bob Arum, and a new car salesman, aka new Shiesty motherfucking Eddie Hearn. The Ldbc is pushing the white man's agenda. So really, are they black boxing community fan bases? Or are they coon buffoons? See, y'all gotta think. At the end of the day, there's what people say, and then there's their actions. We can say whatever the fuck we want to say, but our actions speak louder than our words. Our actions tell us where we really belong. And if their actions is pushing Eddie Hearn, who is known, his father is known for saying that he ran a slave trade operation. Most of the fighters at that time were what? Black. So if most of those fighters were black and they ran a slave trade operation, then who are they fucking talking about? Think about it, you brain full of mush and brainwashed dodo heads. It's the same thing with Bob Arum. Bob Arum always tells you these fighters used to not have any say. Look at the skin colors of the fighters that he's talking about that used to not have say. They used to be black fighters. So again, is this Ldbc really pushing a black boxing community fan base narrative agenda? Or are they pushing cooning and buffooning at its truest and its most properest levels? If y'all not seeing this for what it is, we can't help you out. Just look at when they started really cutting against the grain of Al Heyman and PBC. Look who they've been propping up. You're propping up Devin Haney, so that means you're propping up Matchroom Sports. Put 2 and 2 together, that means you're propping up The Zone. If you're shitting on Al Heyman and PBC and Floyd Mayweather and Leonard Ldbc, you're going to be propping up Bob Arum. That's why they have apologizers in the Ldbc for Terrence Bud Crawford. Even when Terrence Bud Crawford supposedly does things that they think wasn't significant, they put a significant tag on it. Devin Haney, all of them was on higgity fucking hush status until the Gervonta Tank Davis fight. Let's say Gervonta Tank Davis did not fight in that weekend. None of these motherfuckers would be talking right now. They would have crawled right back into the Ldbc holes that they came their rabbit asses up out of. But because Gervonta Tank Davis had a performance where he faced adversity, the sport of boxing, you brain full of mush and brainwashed dodo heads, is hit and don't get hit. He clearly won the fight 8-4. There's an argument that you could make 9-3, but there was no way that Isaac Pitbull Cruz won this fight by any stretch of the imagination. There was a robbery by any stretch of the imagination. Was he a tough and rugged competitor? Yes. You're going to fight people like that. And that's where the Andre Ward rule comes into place. Knockouts will not sustain you. Tank Davis showed his boxing pedigree. He showed how impressive he was as a back foot peddler. He showed how impressive he was by showcasing his boxing pedigree in ring generalship. Because he was turning this motherfucker around. He was giving him different looks. And to be able to outbox him for the last how many rounds without his left hand, it's a things that make you say, It's a things that make you say, But when it's all said and done, this is what you guys are not seeing. This is why people don't use the true boxing eye test, because when you use the true boxing eye test, it doesn't fail you. The LDBC have a cooning and buffooning agenda that they're hiding up under the flag and the banner of being a black boxing community fan base. And if you're too brain full of mush, and you're too much of a brainwash, and you're too much of a fucking dodo fucking brain and a dodo fucking head to see the actuality and the reality behind this, then he knows everything's going to have to keep the foot on the whoop on the necks. He's going to have to keep the foot on the whoop on the necks so that you guys can see that unlimited pressure of common sense that's coming out of his mouth to continue to break down this divide and conquer and divide bullshit and fuck shit narrative that these motherfuckers are pushing. This is He Knows Everything. Check it out. No. P.S. Maya Angelou said it best. When a person shows you who they are the first time, believe them. So if an agenda is giving you in sheep's clothing black boxing community fan base, but really they are ravening wolves and i.e. coons and buffoons, then once a coon buffoon, always a coon buffoon. This is He Knows Everything. Rechecking out. Peace.
Go ahead, he knows.